Today, I'm gonna show you the fastest, most flavorful Rotel dip you've ever had in your life. No Velveeta cheese, no crock pot, and it's so good, you probably won't have any leftovers either. Meet me in the kitchen, let's make it happen. All right guys, we've all had Rotel dip, right? So what makes this one different? There's a few things that take this recipe to the next level. Secret ingredients. First and foremost, you wanna ditch the Velveeta completely and go to your local grocery store deli counter and ask them for white and yellow American cheese. Ask them to give it to you in a block so you can shred it yourself. You can even use slices if you want to. Next up, we're going to talk about the meat mixture. We're going with 80-20 ground beef and 1 pound of spicy ground pork. Now, if you don't like pork, you can leave that out. Just add a little spice to your ground beef or ground turkey, chicken, whatever you decide to use. Last but not least, you want to make your tortilla chips from scratch at home. So we're going to use corn tortillas. We're going to cut them into quarters and then fry them, hit them with a little kosher salt. That's going to elevate this to the next level. You can get all of this done in 30 minutes or less, and it's way better than anything you ever had before. Trust me. All right, guys, so first things first, you want to go ahead and get your prep out of the way. We're going to dice our onions, our bell pepper. We're using some jalapenos for a little spice. You can leave that out if you don't want it to be too spicy. Next, we're going to go ahead and start on our ground beef and our spicy pork sausage. We get that in our Dutch oven or pot that we're using, and we're gonna go ahead and cook that. You wanna get some crispy brown bits. That's gonna add texture, color, and flavor to your queso or to your Rotel dip. So you just wanna work that around. Once the meat is fully cooked, we're gonna go ahead and add in our veggies, our garlic, and then we're gonna start building our queso dip. All right, guys, once the meat is fully cooked, we're gonna remove that from the skillet with a slotted spoon. You wanna do that, that way you don't run the risk of making your queso or your Rotel dip too oily. Now we're gonna get our vegetables into the pot with the remaining fat that's left from the sausage and the meat. If it's excess, like it's too much, you can go ahead and use like a paper towel or something to strain some of that off. We don't want it to be too oily. Garlic going in. Gonna give that a good mix, start to season. Then we're gonna add in 2 tablespoons of flour to create like a light, very small roux. That's gonna help thicken things up just a little bit. And then we're going in with 1 to 1.5 cups of milk. Now, as far as the seasoning goes, we have my all-purpose seasoning. We got some chili powder, some smoked paprika, some buttery garlic pepper seasoning. That's optional. 1 packet of Sazon and a little chicken bouillon powder. Gonna add all of that in. Quick reminder, guys, all the specific measurements and ingredients for this recipe and all of my recipes can be found at MrMakeItHappen.com. Gonna give that a good mix. Immediately smelling amazing. Great color developing already. Gonna go in with a tablespoon or 2 of all-purpose flour. Let's give that a mix, and then we're gonna add our milk and then slowly start to incorporate that cheese. I'm telling you guys, this one is going to be special. If you want to do it in the crock pot, you can. I feel like you lose a little bit of the flavor elements from, getting the color on the meat and just building everything in the pot. This is way faster than that way too. But, do whatever makes the most sense for your party. And this episode is sponsored by laundry sauce. Laundry is one of those things I used to rush through, but this honestly changed everything for me. The first thing you notice is the scent, which I'm huge on. It smells like high-end fragrances, not the standard detergent. It actually makes your clothes and your space smell really good. I love how simple it is. The pods are pre-measured, so there's no guessing. They work in HE machines, and they still hit hard when it comes to cleaning. There's a powerful bioenzyme blend in here, so stains come out and fabrics feel fresh without being harsh. Another big plus for me is what's not in it. No parabens, no phosphates, dyes, or Prop 65 chemicals, and the packaging is eco-friendly, paper made from recycled materials, which I super appreciate. I've also been using the dryer sheets and the in-wash scent boosters, and the fragrance actually lasts without being super overpowerful. It makes everyday laundry feel a little bit more elevated. And I work in kitchens around food a whole lot, so I'm big on making sure my clothes smell good. If you want laundry that smells incredible, cleans well, and fits naturally into your routine, check out Laundry Sauce. It's one of those small upgrades that actually make a huge difference. That's right, guys. Check out Laundry Sauce and use the code MrMakeItHappen15 to save 15% off and enjoy that luxurious laundry day feeling. All right, people, so far so good. This is coming along absolutely perfect. We're gonna add 4 ounces of room temperature cream cheese. That's gonna give us a little bit more body, smooth everything out. Give you that consistency that you know and love. And then we're going in with 1 can of Rotel with green chilies. I'm gonna leave the juice in the can. You can strain it if you want to, but I like to use that juice to kind of thin things out just a little bit. You could also add milk a little bit later to thin things out if you need to, but just work that in. We're gonna taste as you go, adjust to your preferences as always. You wanna make sure that you add the meat back before you start adding more seasoning. That way you can get a real accurate, assessment of how flavorful your queso dip is. All right, people, if you're an overachiever and you really want to take this recipe over the top, you want to fry your own tortilla chips. Grab some corn tortillas, cut them into quarters, fry them at 350 degrees until they're extra crispy. As soon as they come out of that oil, you want to hit them with some kosher salt. We're going to plate this up a little extra Rotel tomatoes and green chilies right on top, some fresh cilantro, and then it's time to get in there for the taste test. This is the part where I say brace yourself for a trademark money shot. Say it with me, guys. Looking good. The only thing left to do is dig in for the taste test, but before we do that, please take a quick second to subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit that bell to enable notifications as well. One last reminder, guys, if you want this recipe in detail, descriptions, pictures, all that good stuff, visit MrMakeItHappen.com. And without further ado, I'm gonna pretend like this is the first time I'm tasting this. I've really been eating more than I am happy to admit off camera. Cheers. This is my weakness, one of many, but this is up there. Any sort of chips and cheese dip situation is over for my diet. You guys gotta try this one. This is chicken bacon ranch sliders. But before we do that, please take a quick second to subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit that bell to enable notifications as well. All right, guys, meet me in the kitchen. Let's make it happen. First things first, let's go over these ingredients. You can use rotisserie chicken for this, but I'm going all out and making some fresh grilled chicken breast. We have some buttermilk for our ranch that we're gonna make from scratch, along with some sour cream, mayonnaise, ranch seasoning. We're using some Hawaiian sweet rolls, as you should for your sliders. The cheese, we got cheddar and provolone, good quality bacon, and you can't have a party without a diced onion. That's going in the sliders as well. All right, to keep it nice and easy for cleanup, we're gonna go ahead and cook our bacon in the oven. We got it preheated to 400 degrees. Cook it till it's crispy. All right, my friends, we're gonna make our ranch dressing from scratch. For the most part, we are using obviously a little ranch seasoning, so not fully from scratch, but nice and easy. We're starting with a cup of mayonnaise. For all you folks out there that say you don't like mayonnaise, but you eat ranch dressing, I'm giving you the side eye. 1 cup of mayo, about a 1/4 cup or so of sour cream. And if we're making a buttermilk ranch, we need a little buttermilk to go in here as well. So about a 1/4 cup of that as well. More or less, depending on the consistency you're going for. We're gonna add some fresh chives to the party, along with some fresh parsley. We're gonna hit it with a little AP seasoning to cover our bases. And then plenty of this ranch seasoning. Taste as you go, adjust the flavor to your preference. Quick reminder, guys, that all the specific measurements and ingredients for this recipe can be found in the description box below, so don't forget to check that out. Break out the whisk and give it a mix. I'm looking for a little bit of a thinner consistency today, so we're gonna add a little bit more buttermilk. A little bit more ranch. We'll put some of this in our, chicken mixture, and then we'll save the rest for a dipping sauce. Can't have chicken bacon ranch without the ranch. And damn, that's some good ranch right there. Give this recipe a try next time, guys. Way better to make it at home yourself. Jar it up in a mason jar, put it in the fridge. All right, guys, we got our skillet heated over medium heat. We're gonna go ahead and cook our chicken breast. First things first, you wanna add a little avocado oil. Has a high smoke point, perfect for searing or cooking meat at high temperatures. Then you just wanna lay your chicken breast on in there. We're gonna cook it on both sides. We can finish it in the oven if we need to. Just wanna develop some nice color. Make sure it's nice and juicy. We're gonna chop it up real small. It's going on our sliders. All right, so after our chicken's got some color, we're gonna go ahead and flip it over. Show the other side the same love and attention. And then we'll get it in the oven to finish it up. Cooking our last couple chicken breasts, we're gonna add it to this baking sheet, pop that in the oven at 400 until the chicken hits 165 degrees internal temperature. Now in that same skillet, we're gonna saute some diced onion. Get up all that flavor from the chicken. Let's let them soften up, caramelize a bit. We'll add that to our slider. All right guys, so as you can see, we have the bottom of our Hawaiian rolls on a baking sheet with a wire rack. We sprayed the wire rack to make sure this doesn't stick. We're gonna get the bottom half in the oven first at 400 degrees. Allow the cheese to begin to melt. Plenty of cheese, because why the hell not? We're here for a good time, not a long time. Then we'll top it with our chicken bacon ranch mixture. And then finally the top bun and back into the oven until she's all done. All right, we got our diced chicken going into the bowl here. Again, guys, you can use rotisserie chicken to make it easier, but it's not gonna be as juicy and flavorful and fresh as making it yourself. To the chicken, we're gonna add the bacon. We're gonna add a little parsley for a pop of color. And then we're going in with some shredded cheddar cheese. You wanna allow the chicken to cool a bit before you slice it. About 1.5 cups of grated or shredded cheddar. So again, guys, we're gonna add some of this to the mixture here, and the rest is gonna become a dipping sauce. So maybe 1/2 cup going in. Take your spoon and just kind of fold everything together. If you're feeling real brave, you can get in there with your hands. But we just want to fold all that together. For my keto folks out there, you can stop right here, put this on a low carb wrap, or eat it straight up just like this with a little veggies on the side for health. But you want it to be nicely combined, so nice and even. Just use your spoon or tongs or whatever you got to get in there and fold everything together until everything is coated nicely in that ranch, but not drowning in it. You want it to look just like this, guys. So as you can see, our cheese has gotten a head start along with our bottom bun. It's gonna crisp up a little bit extra. That way it holds up, doesn't get soggy on you. And then we're just gonna layer in this chicken bacon ranch mixture right on top of that provolone. Feel free to use whatever cheese you like, guys. I chose provolone today because it's delicious and it melts nicely. Then we're gonna add our sauteed onions right on top. And then we're coming with that top bun right on top into the oven at 400 degrees for a couple minutes. And then we'll make our glaze. Plate this up for a taste test. Now for the glaze, guys, we're doing like a brown sugar, butter, and Dijon mustard glaze. It's gonna be relatively sweet. It's gonna pair nicely with the savoriness from the chicken bacon ranch. So we're gonna melt 5 tablespoons of butter. To that, we're gonna add about 1/4 cup of brown sugar. We're gonna add a tablespoon of Dijon mustard. That's gonna add a little bite, offset some of the sweetness. Then a few dashes of worst word in the world sauce. A little all-purpose seasoning. We're just gonna let that melt together, form a glaze. We're gonna pour that right over the top bun, and it's gonna be delicious. If you wanna keep it simple, guys, you can just use like a nice garlic butter to pour over top. I like this method. I tried it with a ham and cheese slider not too long ago and it came out great, so I wanted to show it to you guys for this chicken bacon ranch slider as well. So as you can see, we're just about done. Now is the time to go ahead and glaze it up. Don't get too crazy with it, just enough to coat the top buns. It's going to caramelize a little more in the oven. It's going to add great flavor, nice hint of sweetness. That Dijon mustard is going to be great as well. Back into the oven for about 2 more minutes. All right, my friends, we went ahead and plated this up. This is the part where I say brace yourself for a trademark money shot. Say it with me, guys. Looking good. The only thing left to do is dig in here for a taste test. But before we do that, please take a quick second to subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit that bell to enable notifications as well. All right, guys, time for the moment of truth. A little homemade ranch. This is not on my diet. Today we're making one of my favorite flavors, and that is garlic parm. Meet me in the kitchen, let's make it happen. All right, guys, time to prep our chicken wings. I like a good buttermilk brine if you have the time. I have another brine recipe on the channel as well if you want to go that method, or you can just season them up and fry them, no big deal. Today we're going with some buttermilk though. Just a pint of buttermilk in here to coat the wings. I'm gonna mix in a little bit of habanero hot sauce. Optional, is gonna add some nice heat. If you don't want any heat on your wings, then you can leave this out. But about 2 teaspoons of that. And I'm also gonna go in with my buttery garlic pepper. So we're making garlic parm wings, so that we're gonna play off the garlic a little bit. There's gonna be butter in the wing sauce as well. So this seasoning just complements the sauce quite a bit. So once we have the ingredients in there, we're gonna go ahead and get in there with our hands and give that a good mix. The acid in the buttermilk is gonna help tenderize the meat. If you can do this up to 24 hours, it'll be even better. I wouldn't go longer than 24 hours though, because you don't want the texture of the meat to break down too much. So I would say anywhere from 4 to 24 hours is kind of the sweet spot. All right, people, now it's time to go ahead and get our dipping sauce together. Usually you're gonna choose between ranch or blue cheese. I have plenty of ranch dressing recipes on the channel and on my blog at mrmakeithappen.com. Today I'm going to show you how to make blue cheese dressing. So I like equal parts mayo and sour cream, a 1/4 cup of each, going into the mixing bowl. We're going to add about 6 tablespoons or so, up to about a 1/4 cup of buttermilk. I know you don't feel like measuring out 6 tablespoons, so that's close enough. 1/4 cup of buttermilk going in. The buttermilk's going to give it that bite, or that, little bit of acidity that you're used to, tasting. Also, the lemon juice is going to add that too. So we're going to add about a teaspoon or so of lemon juice, preferably fresh. Teaspoon of worst word in the world sauce. It's going to add a little umami. And then we're going in with a teaspoon of garlic. And then you're going to season to taste. That's a little more than a teaspoon, but hey, who doesn't like garlic? And then you're going to season the taste with all-purpose seasoning or just a pinch of salt and pepper. And then you're going to fold in your blue cheese based on, how chunky you want your blue cheese dressing to be. So as we said, for our sauce today, we have garlic parmesan. Super simple, minimal ingredients. You need 1 stick of melted butter, grated Parmesan cheese, garlic, parsley, and the seasoning of your choice, which today is this buttery garlic pepper seasoning, which is going to be great on this. So you just use salt and pepper if you want to. Whatever seasoning you like on your wings is cool. Going in with about a good 1.5 tablespoons of garlic paste. Fresh garlic is cool here too, but sometimes it can be a little bit, overpowering, I think. I mean, obviously it's garlic parm, right? You want it to have the garlic flavor in there. But if you overdo it with the fresh garlic, you can kind of mess it up. You're less likely to mess it up if you use the garlic paste, because you're not going to be able to really overdo it. So, and we're going with the parm. I like to add some when we toss the wings too. And if you need to thin this at any point, you can just add a little olive oil or avocado oil, something like that. But there we go. You're going to toss the hot wings in there, give them a flip. Hit them with a little bit more Parmesan cheese and some parsley when you plate them up. And you got the best garlic parm wings you ever had. All right, guys, after a good buttermilk brine session, it's time to go ahead and bread the wings. So fresh from the buttermilk, knock the excess off right into that seasoned flour. You can grab the seasoned flour from my website, mrmakeithappen.com, or just season your own flour, a little salt, pepper, garlic, onion powder, Cajun seasoning could work, a little chicken bouillon powder, really whatever you like will get the job done. We're going breaded wings today. I should be using one wet hand, one dry hand, but I already messed that up, so you gotta roll with me. Just bread them nicely, let them sit for about 15 minutes while the oil comes up to 350 degrees. And then we're gonna fry them up. All right, guys, once the oil gets to 350 degrees, it's time to go ahead and drop our wings. You wanna place them in there gently. Don't overcrowd your fryer. You don't want the oil temperature to drop rapidly, especially if you're using larger wings like this here. Probably do 2 batches. 8 to 12 minutes. Again, it's all gonna depend on the size and the weight of the chicken and how cold it was when it went into the grease. That's why it's good to have a food thermometer. That way you can register the chicken and know the internal temperature, you know, with some accuracy. You're looking for 165 to 175 degrees. All right, guys, we're gonna go ahead and plate this up. A little extra seasoning, a little extra Parmesan cheese, because why the hell not? We're here for a good time, not a long time. This is the part where I say brace yourself for a trademark money shot. Say it with me, guys. Looking good. The only thing left to do is dig in for the taste test. But before we do that, please take a quick second to subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit that bell to enable notifications as well. The moment of truth is here. It's time to dig in. But before we do that, one quick reminder, all the specific measurements and ingredients are at MrMakeItHappen.com. And with that being said, we're going to dunk this right into that homemade blue cheese. Oh, man. Wow. The blue cheese is the perfect dance partner for this. Today is Nacho Day, and we're pulling out all the stops. I'm going to show you guys how to make these delicious shredded beef nachos paired with pico de gallo, guacamole, queso, and homemade tortilla chips. Meet me in the kitchen. Let's make it happen. All right, guys, today we're making shredded beef tacos, and for the beef, I'm using short rib. We got some beautiful boneless short rib here. This is about 2.5 pounds. We're going to heavily salt it. Got some beautiful kosher salt that we're going to salt the short ribs with. I like to only season my short ribs or pot roast or anything that we're going to braise with just salt, because you want to get a good sear without really burning up all the seasoning. So things like black pepper and you know, other spices tend to burn at high heat. So you're going to end up burning up all your spices, and they can kind of put off a bitter taste. And I'm trying to avoid that. So we're going to season with salt and then add our seasonings to the braising liquid. That way we get all of the flavor without that bitterness that comes from burning them. So the key here is to heavily salt these short ribs. We're going to sear them up. We're going to prep our veggies. We got some beautiful chilies here. We got dried ancho chilies, some chilies California. We got garlic. We got onions. We got celery. We got carrots. Let me know in the comments what your favorite snack is. Nachos are definitely in the top for me. All right, guys, so this step is super important. It's very critical to get a good sear on anything that you're going to braise, because it's going to add color, texture, and flavor to your meat. Nothing worse than a gray piece of pot roast or short rib. So we're gonna get some beautiful color on the exterior of the short rib, then remove it, add in all of our flavor components for our braising liquid. You can do this in the oven at 325 for about 3.5 hours, or you can do it in a pressure cooker in about an hour. Once your skillet gets nice and hot, add some oil, preferably something with a high smoke point. Once it gets warm, we're gonna go ahead and add in our short ribs. You want to press down to make sure they're making good surface area contact with the skillet. That's going to ensure you get an even sear or crust. And don't overcrowd your skillet. We only got 3 today, so don't got to worry about that. Let's give them a good 2 to 3 minutes per side. All right, so I went ahead and killed the heat, removed the short ribs. That way we don't scorch our veggies. But as you can see in there, it's not burnt. So if we would have seasoned the short ribs as well as most of us would like to, that oil down there would be all burnt up and bitter tasting. So we're going in with our celery, our carrots, our onion, some garlic, the heat back on, move this around, start to wake up the flavors. At that point, once this is sauteed for a minute or two, we're gonna go ahead and add in our tomato paste, our beef broth, add in the dried chili so they can rehydrate and start to open up and release their flavor. Then we'll season this up and get this in the pressure cooker or the oven if you choose to. All right, right now we're basically fusing together some French techniques and flavor along with some Mexican flavor as well. So in go the dried chilies. We're gonna let them absorb some of that oil, toast a little bit, wake them up before we rehydrate them. Also a good time to go ahead and start to season everything.
I hit it with my AP seasoning, some oregano, about a tablespoon of that. Let that, work itself into the oil as well. The spices will bloom a little bit and really enhance the flavor. Some chili powder, cumin, and a packet of sesame. Then we're going in with 4 cups of beef broth. All right, guys, pico is one of those things that's almost always better at home. And it's super simple with only a few ingredients. All you need is some tomatoes, cilantro, onion, jalapeno if you want. You can throw some sweet fruit in there like a pineapple or a mango as well. But today we're keeping it real simple. I like to core my tomatoes. The easiest way to do that is cut them in half, then cut them in half again. And just take a knife and remove the guts. Optional, but that's how I like to make mine. Makes it a little less wet, and the tomato's easier to deal with at that point. And a lot of the things that people don't like about tomato is like a texture thing. So this is where that texture lies, and we're going to remove that. So out with the guts of the tomato. Then we're going to dice up our veggies, mix everything together, season to taste. You got a real simple pico de gallo. All right, guys, once all the components are added to the mixing bowl, we're gonna go ahead and grate in some lime zest and the juice of 1 lime as well. Juice of 1 lime, zest of 1 lime, give it a mix. And you got yourself a real simple, light, refreshing pico de gallo. Can't forget the salt and pepper. Pinch or 2 of each. Next up, it's guacamole time. So we have 3 ripe avocados. You can tell they're ripe by the touch. You want to be able to you should see your thumbprint. It shouldn't go all the way through the avocado, but you should be able to see your thumbprint in it. That indicates that it's nice and soft. Also, if you pop this off, you should see nice and green. Looks like we already did that, so that's not going to work for these particular avocados. But that's a couple ways you can tell that they're ripe. Some stores sell like the guaranteed ripe ones. I'm not exactly sure how they do that, but I've seen them at grocery stores, so that's another option. Nice avocados here. You want to take your knife, press it into the seed, and then remove it like that. Easiest way to do that in my opinion. Just be careful. You don't want to cut yourself, so don't rush through this process. It just pops right out. Then we're just going to squeeze the avocados into the bowl. We're going to add cilantro, red onion, a little jalapeno, and then we're going to season it up, mash it to your desired consistency. You got guacamole. All right, so when you're frying homemade tortillas, you want to use corn. We're going to cut them in quarters like you see right here. If you want them smaller, that's totally up to you. We want the oil to get at 350 degrees, and then we're going to gently place our corn tortillas into the oil. These fry super fast, guys, like 45 to 60 seconds. And then we're going to get them out onto a wire rack, immediately salt them. All right, guys, once the beef is done, we pulled it out. We're going to go ahead and shred it. I'm going to hit it with a little bit of my barbecue sauce, which you can grab at MrMakeItHappen.shop, or you can use whatever your favorite barbecue sauce is. Make it like a nice shredded beef barbecue nacho. That's what we're going for. So we're going to shred this with 2 forks. As you can see, the beef is super tender, just shredding very easily. We're just going to go ahead and shred this up, hit it with the barbecue sauce, and then build our nacho plate. All right, so one of my pro tips when I'm making homemade nachos, other than, of course, frying your own tortilla chips, is I like to add some shredded cheese and whatever protein I'm using, especially if something like barbecue beef is going to go into the oven. The cheese is going to melt and the beef is going to get nice and crispy. Obviously, it'll be nice and warm as well. Pop it in the oven at 350 for about 4 to 5 minutes until the cheese is melted. Everything is bubbly and beautiful. All right, guys, let's talk nacho toppings. At this point, it's all fair game. Whatever you like, you can throw some beans on there, black olives, raw onions, anything like that works. Today we have a little queso. We got some regular melted cheese, some queso also that we're going to add. Then we're going down with a dollop of guacamole, our pico. We got some of that barbecue sauce that we're going to add that we already added to the beef. We're going to glaze that over top as well. Cilantro, sour cream, and cotija cheese. One of the most common questions I get is, what is my favorite thing to eat? And I think I figured it out. A perfect nacho platter like this, there's few things I can think of that's more pleasurable at the dinner table or the snack counter or wherever the hell you're at where they serve nachos. Without further ado, MrMakeItHappen.com for all recipes. If somebody were to start a cult and they offered this to me at the meeting, I'll probably sign up. Damn.